Yeah. Do I have my water? I have two waters. I have two waters and a soda. That's how much liquid I have around me. I'm gonna drink one of these. Ah, tooth is bothering me. But currently, your eyes do not deceive you. It's happening again. I am serious this time, actually. But I'm going to be developing a game. So keep in mind, however, I'm using drag and drop, but drag and drop does not have as much doesn't have as much like autopiloting as I thought it would have. I ran into an issue actually that I had to deal with for like 4 hours, and then I just gave up on it. And then found out that's like literally just one simple thing that I wasn't listening to on the tutorial. But I'm gonna sit in stream chat too because I think there's somebody who's gonna join me. But actually, should I? Should I go private Jork circle? I don't think I should. I should go stream. Uh, no, let's go private Jork circle. There you go. There you go. It's me and Jazz. Keith if he feels like it. But no music as well. But I want to show you what I have.
Skip it up and down.
Oh my god! Whoa! Okay. Hi, Mochi. Hello. But if I click on this, I did it again. I have a working prototype. Oh, you did it? What do you do? What do you do? I want to know. What do you do? Huh? I think this range is a little bit too low. Hold on. I believe the range is on the weapon itself. So it's Lapia. Oh, oops, hold on. My bad. No, it's not on the weapon. It's on the bullet? Is it on the bullet? Yeah, range is on the bullet. Let's double this. You did it? What'd you do? What'd you do, Machi? Oh! Hi, Keith! I have a working prototype! Oh, that's a pretty far bullet. Hell yeah, I like that. Hey, Jazz! Ella Weaver found all the secrets and got all the ladies that had medals, and then told their parents whenever and whenever I found their daughter. What? You do tell them that? Oh, damn. I guess it's a special thing. Booba. Also, yeah, look. I have this. Yes, but you have to find all the secrets? Ah, okay. Oh, so they're rewarding people who farm. I get it, I get it. Maybe I should have farmed a bit more then. But yeah, look. Oh, also okay. So, the character on the screen looks a little bit strange because I actually downloaded a pixel program because I thought I needed to use a specific, like, profile. In actuality, what I needed to do was make a GIF. So, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take this character and I'm going to redo her. Um, That's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna redo the character. That's the first thing I'm gonna do because I'm not entirely happy with this. Um, Yuki, I remember that. That's good. I can tell Minerva about her daughter. Oh, 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 hold on, hold on. Ooh, ooh. Sorry. Let's just say there's a reason you shouldn't see that. Hold on. Just me? Okay. Oops. Okay. File. import animation sequence. And then we go to files. I want to go to not download. I should probably just mark Godless Aether on quick access. The Godless Aether. I want to do Alice's. There we go. Also, I named the female character Alice because I figured that would be interesting. File. Import video animation. And I want it to be on. Let me see. Is there like a new document? There we go. All right, let's do this. Going back to recording. There we go. Okay. Let's do standing one. I'm gonna probably make her more like a Alice style character. What that? Boom. Okay, let's do a corset. I would like a corset. We decided on the music and it was a jazz. And I figured that the way we were gonna do it would be like that's not steampunk, but what's it called? It's like an old-fashioned like old-timey vibe essentially. Kind of like a very similar to Expedition 13. Not that I'm copying Expedition 13. Not 13, 33. But I just figured that that would be what was fitting for the jazz theme. Because I don't want to copy Expedition 13. Uh Mainly because like it's not going to be an RPG. So uh cuz one thing as well is I don't really understand RPGs. So, and the thing is, I understand that the problem isn't copying people's homework. It's copying people's homework without understanding what is on the paper. So, if I'm not gonna be able to understand what's on the paper, then I'm not gonna be able to copy, right? I shouldn't copy either. Uh. Make this like a little bit more skimpy. There we go. And then I want her. Yeah, she's gonna be like a sexy Alice. Oh, fuck. I'm thinking goth. She's gonna be a goth girl. I specifically, it sounds weird, but I kind of sort of wanted to design her off of Mochi. Uh, for reasons that I cannot necessarily get into. Uh. The fact that I'm back on Krita definitely helps with my production. I'm much more of a Krita sort of person. Do this. Actually, no, let's just full on go into the sexy Alice. Need food but lazy? Yeah, I feel ya. I was in the same boat for a little bit as well. It's like, I wanted stuff, I was like, nah. There we go. I'm just doing the artwork for now. Just because I have kind of sort of done programming for a little bit. And I kind of want to take a break from that. And the fact that now that I found out that I can have Krita work on this, I should be better off using Krita. Keep in mind though, I did just spend money on a pixel program. Unfortunately. I legitimately thought that the program needed a specific type of file. So I downloaded prefabs and tried to study them so I could figure out what to do with the prefabs, and I came up with the wrong conclusion, unfortunately. There we go. I could probably also make the camera a bit smaller as well. Game. Onion layers. Hey Doc, how's it going? I actually put on the notification, not the notification, but the title that I'm following a tutorial, but currently I found out that I did need to do some artwork. Let's see. Let's do a little bit of hip sway. Suntan these way slowly, yeah. I did notice that I was getting a bit hot. I'm usually pretty good with the heat. It doesn't really bother me too much. I know there's a bunch of people who aren't really ready for it when they come here. Even some people from like desert areas are like, it's not. It's a lot hotter than I thought it was. But like, you know, it's humid hot. It's a different kind of heat, basically. I am hoping that I am hoping that when Mochi gets here, she isn't like run into issues. Not that I don't want to move. Not that I don't think I can move over to where she's at in response, but more like, I just want to watch her. I just want to be aware of her health. Oh, like right. I will say I'll be really happy to bring Mochi to PCC, Polynesian Cultural Center. There we go. Oh, I'm looking at the wrong thing. Oops. Sorry, I'm looking at the wrong thing. I'm supposed to be looking at the red. Hold on, let me. I probably messed this thing up really badly, actually. Mr. Commitment, you find the exit over to the right. No, no, no. Actually, I could probably listen to music at this point. Get some music in here. Occupants too. I could definitely use music during the artwork phase. I'm gonna eat the pixels, yeah. I was actually full on considering making it an adult game, which I'm like very capable of doing. I was just like, I'm not sure if Jazz would like that. Plus, I want to stream it in order to keep myself motivated. So like, I'm not. This is probably not gonna be an adult game. Although I'm not gonna lie when I say I was considering it. What actually got me to like actually say no to that was actually really interesting. The thing is something I actually know from experience actually is if you are going to have a skill that's like if you're gonna have a skill that is capable of being monetized, the best option is to make it all monetized. And the one that would get me the most money would probably be like a regular game. Probably sounds like super greedy of me, but it's kind of sort of like what got me to not make an adult game. The thing is, it definitely would be an option if I really wanted to. I could do it. I was told something similar. If you have a skill, always charge for it. Yeah. Because, like, the thing is what I usually say about, like, making games is people expect games to be free or handed to them on a silver platter. Unfortunately, that isn't entirely how it works. Because if you're going to be spending upwards up to, like, 5 years on a project, you better be making some fucking buku bucks on that shit. It's a waste of time if you don't. I was zoned out, I heard my name. I was just talking about how you probably wouldn't want to make an adult game. Plus, I kind of sort of decided not to do it just because I wanted to make a little bit more money. Oh, speaking of which, I actually was thinking about it. Because it's only 2 of us, we probably could do a 50-50. Just censor your VTuber and nothing will happen. Yeah, you're 50-50 on the idea? Yeah. The thing is it definitely could be a thing we could do. I don't know. It'd be fun, but I can't remote music on my sites. Yeah, that's true. I think as well. I'm not sure how that would impact my. Would I call it a career? I'll call it a career. I'm not sure how that would impact my VTuber career. I know Project Melody has an adult game in the works, but I'm not sure how the public would like accept that or not, you know? Then again, I'm literally the person who has adult music on my channel. Yeah, that's the one thing about making adult content that a lot of people seem to forget. You kind of sort of have to be aware of how it affects the rest of your life, you know? And that's literally the place I say that a lot of OnlyFans girls fuck up. Is not necessarily doing what they're doing, because I think I actually am supportive of workers like that. It's more like you kind of sort of have to be aware of the consequences if you do stuff like that. And one of the ways that you end up getting hit with a lot of consequences is not being honest with it. To be completely honest, like, if people didn't try to keep it a secret, right, I think it would have been a little bit better. Because, like, if you have this thing where, like, somebody doesn't accept you for being, you know, doing stuff like that, you kind of have this weird thing where it's like, you kind of sort of might want to go elsewhere. The thing is, like, eventually they'll find out, and that's like the huge thing, is like eventually they'll find out. Eventually you're gonna, you know, have some kid. They're gonna grow up, and with that comes discovery. And what happens if said discovery is a picture of you on the internet, right? You'd either like be open with it and just say, you know, that you're gonna find that, or you can just lock up the information and get ready to handle the consequences, you know? I can't say how I feel about it. It's a word that I hear a lot of people use, and nowadays it's lack of accountability. It's like if you're gonna be doing stuff like that, you kind of have to be prepared to explain, or like you gotta be open. It's literally what you gotta do. Just be open with yourself, your family. It probably sounds bad, like, risky, but the thing is, like, you're gonna run into a situation where they're gonna find out anyway, so you might as well just be open with it, you know? I do have actually a pretty open respect for the, what do you even call it to censor that? The service? Oh, you son of a bitch. Oh, Jazz! Consume his balls! Are you gonna do it? Do the thing! We have the balls for you. Get him, Jazz! Or Keith, which one, everyone? Nom, hell yeah. I think that would actually be a hot take. I'm prone to random hot takes. But, like, when it comes down to it, you kind of sort of have to be aware of, like, the consequences. And the best way to stave it off is just to rip off the band-aid, because it hurts a lot more to find out than it does to just be aware of it the whole time. Because, like, there's a difference between a classy hoe and a nasty hoe. And you don't want to be a nasty hoe, you want to be a classy hoe. Yeah, I'm a hoe, and I also have a nice, loving family who is very accepting of the situation. That's kind of sort of the goal there. One secret to that is once you get that family, it's best to stop. OnlyFans girls, that's kind of sort of a non-marital thing. Once you get married, it's best to stop. Kind of sort of how it's like when it comes to like doing other stuff in that regards. I know one thing that I can actually say about that in my sort of situation as well. I probably won't be selling any more feet pics once I get Mochi here, because then it becomes straight up official, and my feet will belong to her. Essentially, it's like the best way to put it. Actually, you know Richard EB? the music person. I actually once commented on one of his videos, are you brave enough to do the music from Gentle Breeze? He didn't answer, but I'm not sure what I was expecting, honestly. There are very few people who are brave enough to like do adult style music. If there's anything that I have put a lot of effort... Actually, no, I actually put a lot of effort in the coding, too. I was about to say the only thing I put a lot of effort into was the artwork, but the coding actually took me, like, a long time. Even if I am following a tutorial, like, it takes a lot out of me. Cause I was up all night doing it, actually. Another one? Oh no, mind. It's just YouTube connecting to my stuff again. Wait, is it fucking... It is. Going out further. I know I was looking for. I was doing that fucking thing again, where it's missing... No, I think I... There we go. Alright, let's go to get off on there. Okay, now I go. Player style, bringing overlay. Oh. When it's 4 laser ribbon? I don't usually use ribbons, so I'm good. Oh. Doing the thing? No, is it actually doing the thing? Is it deleting my fucking... Is it deleting random pixels again? I swear I'm not fucking crazy. This thing deletes pixels sometimes. Cause that was filled earlier. Holy fuck. Let me... Oh, I forgot something. Hold on. I forgot that I was gonna do this with the parts that are not on this side. Black Shadow. Oh damn, hold on. A series of unfortunate events. Oh, wait a minute! I remember the 5th book I read, because I remember, like, not 5th book I read, but like, somebody once asked some person on the on a talk show, how many books have you read? And I thought to myself, I read a few books. And I had a whole list of books in my head just because like I wanted to bring it up. Harry Potter, specifically series, not just books, but Harry Potter, Artemis Fowl, Poison, a series of unfortunate events, and there was a 5th. Oh, did I forget the 5th one? Did I already say Artemis Fowl? I think I already said Artemis Fowl. But There's like I read like 5 books. Harry Potter, I don't want to go like say another Harry Potter book, because I actually don't think I want to say like how many books specifically. I'm thinking more like how many series I've read is more better. I've basically read a few books, and I'm proud of it, because like I know a lot of people measure like your intelligence by how much like books you've read. And I can at least say like that isn't the case, at least, because I'm not very intelligent. I think I'm like wise, but there's a little bit of a difference between the two. So like there's actually a quite sizable difference between wise and intelligent, actually. Being wise is more like being experienced, while being smart is being learned. I'm not very learned, but I'm pretty experienced when it comes to like lots of things. I mentioned that a few times actually, but it's weirdly enough a fact that I'm kind of sort of almost proud of knowing, because I know a lot of people are like intelligence is pretty important, but from what I've experienced, being wise is much more important. Because you can know a lot of things, but you can also be incapable at the same time. I'm not gonna win any Nobel Prizes for it, but it's something I do like sharing, at least. Where you don't really have to be the smartest man alive. Be someone who can get by extremely easily, actually. Especially since, like, nowadays, it's not like you're going out in the wilderness, you know? It's good to go out in the wilderness sometimes, but that's not how modern day society works anymore. You're not really gonna go in the wilderness and do stuff. One thing as well is, like, the people who are out in the wilderness also survived off of wisdom rather than intelligence, because they weren't the smartest people. What is the purple diamond next to my name? You are either subscribed or you're an MVP. MVP? Yeah, MVP. VIP. There we go. VIP. I think you might actually be a VIP. You know. Yeah. It's VIP? Yeah, it's VIP. Did I put you on VIP? I'm not sure if I did. I think I might have, actually, now that I think about it. You actually replaced a different person on VIP, I think. No? I used to have one of my first viewers as MVP. But they were not easy to talk to, so I stopped talking to them. If that makes any sense. The bit emblem? Wait, Keith, did you buy bits? And did you send me bits? Did you? Oh, okay. A while ago? Oh. Wait, then that means you had that for a while. Keith! You're questioning it now? Got me fucked up. You've been silently questioning it? Oh, okay. And then you figured we would know. Yeah. Wait, did you cheer enough bits for something specifically? Maybe you have the white diamond, but a gem on the bank background. Oh. White diamond cut gem on it. 100 bits. Oh, you gave me $1. Nice. I like $1. Dollars are cool. Dollar. Yeah, 1 bit is like a penny, yeah. There's so many, I've seen a couple of people hear some ridiculous amounts of money too.
Fucking 20,000 bits.
Yeah.
Fuck. 10,000 bytes, so yeah.
Oh, what the fuck is this? Oh, I know what that is.
I know it's banging bitches. I'll mock your bites however the fuck I please, bitch.
Okay.
Good. Good. Nah. Me and I watch my program on that.
Onion layer. Oops. Ah, shit. Hell yeah. Get that dog in me. Motherfucker, we said there's a oh woo! Oh yeah, I was actually I got super into like VTuber covers for a while. I came across I specifically ended up coming across the She-Wolf from it's covered by Bao Numi, I think, and
Bao Numi, Cinder,
Yeah.
one other person. Guess I thought it was 4 people.
yeah. Yeah, it was like 4 people. I think it was actually 3. I remember the cover only having 3 people. Don't piss in his shoe.
It's so bad to have context.
I wasn't only 3 people.
Yeah, it was like 3.
That was smart.
This is one of my YouTube videos. Yeah.
Don't you just love it when
It's a gauge, you know a gay. Are we just a bunch of gay guys? I don't know. Well, no, well, you're a woman. Never mind. Oh, did you get up squirts
did you get Splash?
from Splash?
You spelled it right the first time.
Yeah, bidet? Oh no. I would not be able to handle a bidet. I would not be able to handle a bidet.
You did not just say fucking bidet.
It's the French people's fault for spelling it weird.
Even though we spell words weird.
Yeah, we do spell words. Well, the thing is, like, that doesn't necessarily mean that America's, a lot of these people who speak English are free from scrutiny either. We do spell some pretty fucking weird-ass words.
Like, what the fuck do you mean pterodactyl is spelt like that? Oh, the P is silent. Like...
Motherfucker, we just said, what do you mean? What do you mean? Yeah, motherfucking... What the fuck? Where the hell are you?
What the fuck is a kilometer?
Dude, you should ask. Keith, you should. Wait, where are you? Where the fuck do you have it? But where the hell are you? Washington? Washington.
Why are you in DC?
What the fuck?
You know, I forget DC exists.
It's where your uncle lives. I thought that was my brain. Imagine something way different than that answer. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, do it. It might as well be 2 hours with the fucking traffic there.
You drunk as shit? Hell yeah.
I believe it. I just watched the dude feed his dog a lemon.
Oh yeah, lemon. I like how I wanted to go with Goth Mommy, but my dumbass made a fucking bouncy little schoolgirl. My brain just can't put together a Goth Mommy right. Maybe I need reference. I will have reference for a Goth Mommy in like a year, I think. Mochi is come.
Oh.
This card's error, but they're really respectful to suggestion. Really? My dumb ass was not expecting that from the Capitol, I'm not gonna lie. Is it bad that my fucking patriotic ass didn't expect Washington to be nice? Or your crackheads. Well, the thing is, okay. I don't usually touch upon these subjects, but I could probably mention this. Washington is prone to riot, so you could, if you really want like chaos, you know, you could get a steady supply of chaos like at the Capitol in like maybe a few days, maybe a few weeks, maybe a few months, one or two. Washington do be rioting very often. Don't want chaos, you're just used to it? Ah, okay. Confusing. No, no,
Fuck
no.
with my asshole. What the fuck?
No. What about your asshole?
I'm watching a meme compilation and I just hear somebody say buckle my asshole. I'm like, huh?
Oh?
Huh?
Oh my god!
Having mayonnaise on my ass.
Oh my god, Keith, I have a question. You want some mayonnaise?
You want some mayonnaise on the sandwich? You want some mayonnaise?
Oh my god.
Or as I've heard it, mayo, don't you?
What?
I've heard somebody say that.
Interesting.
Cocaine? What? What is this meme compilation?
Cocaine Bear?
I heard Gordon Ramsay say something about a cocaine deal.
It is actually kind of fascinating. Wait, Gordon Ramsay has a cocaine dealer? Jeez. Is this true? I need a fact check with somebody. Google it, Keith. I am busy.
That's a meme compilation. I doubt it.
I don't because I don't have access to Google right now. Because I don't want to show my thing. Yeah, I coke dealer, dude. You gotta Google it.
Something a coke dealer would say.
That is no coke dealers are usually proud of it. At least over here.
Some parts of the mainland are like super into fucking denial.
I don't sell drugs. What you talking about, fool? Copy keyframes, boom. Paste keyframes, and then which foot is next? It's the right foot.
Oh, that's a polite ass game.
This meme comp motherfucker is divine. Hell yeah. I did it for the vine, yo.
I did it for the fine.
This is how you make me feel right now? Hell yeah. Welcome to the madness, Keys. My brain isn't really working very well because I spent... Okay. So, I figured out what it was too. So, I spent 4 hours trying to figure out a piece of code. And, yeah, I was trying to, like... I was trying to, figure out a piece of code, right? For fucking 4 hours. And here's the thing. I figured out what it was. I wasn't listening. Apparently, apparently what ended up happening is, I ended up doing a thing where there was a very specific step that I missed. You know what? This one, boom. Okay, here we go. It's this one. Copy keyframes. Wait, actually, is it this one? It is this one. It's cute.
Keith, I'm gonna shove a piece of fucking rebar up your ass.
Rebar?
Rebar?
Oh shit. Huh? Yeah. Yeah.
You.
I've got some water in well. Look out, he will.
What if,
Oh yeah! You Keith! I know you're a superhero! I think he's a superhero. He might be actually be a super villain. But there's this superhero, I think, named Dog Welder. Dog Welder, his superpower is that he has a weird fucking obsession with welding dogs to people's faces. Specifically the face. He has a magic welder that apparently allows him to weld dogs to people. I don't know it has to be magic because you can't melt a dog and fuse it with somebody doing that. Yeah. They're also dead dogs, so it's not. Wait, would it count as animal abuse if they're already dead? That's a conversation I'm curious about, actually. No? Okay, then I think yeah, it's not animal abuse. So it's just like a dude being weird. But yeah, dog welder. This counts as fucking with the dead? Yeah, it counts as. What is it called defiling a grave? Yeah, it's called defile. Well, I'm not thinking about like illegal. I'm thinking more like whether or not the internet would be okay with it. Because the internet is weird because it kind of has its own like rules. Right. Y'all go fuck. They're dead. They're dead. I'll go fuck what they are. Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, they are also edible. So. I mean, yeah, I mean, they're already, I mean, who's gonna let meat spoil like that?
What?
E621, hey, you got it right. Yeah, that's a scary website. The best part is that's also where you're gonna find the best tech support.
I think it was, what, fucking 9 that ended to escape to that website?
Yeah. But legitimately, I truly believe you can find the best tech support there. Because everybody, like, seems to mention that that's where they get tech support. Like, they complain about computers, and all of a sudden they have some fucking furry come in and be like, okay, this is what you do. It's like, really? It's like, yeah, try it, dude. And like, they try it, and it's like, wait a minute, how did you know this? It's like, that guy. Yeah.
Ow.
Yeah. And sometimes you do gotta study the arts.
Is studying the homie's balls at night an art?
I didn't hear.
introduce Cave to Bad Dragon.
Oh yeah, I like Bad Dragon. Bad Dragon looks fun. Not, Mochi has a Bad Dragon, and she showed it to me.
Multiple, I thought.
Yeah. She said, I slipped on this and accidentally got it way too deep and hurt myself. I'm over here like, uh-oh. Then she sent me a picture. I'm over here like, that's a crime scene. That's a crime scene, Mochi. Wait, must I notify the authorities of your loss? What's wrong time?
Yes, we are freaks, and
I'm bringing sexy back, man. I'm bringing sexy back. You and all the bitches don't know how to act. You. Someone stepped on a diddle. I'm quitting. No 2 weeks notice. Yeah.
yeah.
Wait, if I get a police operator and I call me, yeah. It's like, motherfucker calls it like, this is embarrassing, but I need your help. It's like, what happened? It's like, a friend of mine may or may not have, hurt themselves using a toy. It's like, what kind of toy? It's like, sir, I have to know so I know how urgent the call is. You slipped on a Bad Dragon. He?
What do you mean he?
What do you mean he?
Jammed up his ass. The hell?
My friend got oh, that's dangerous too, but well, I hope he's okay. Oh, if it still works, he's good. He's fine. It should still work. Great bang frame, great bang frame, great bang frame. Blah.
Go take a shit over there.
I like how I only have one character on there and she already has a pew pew. Actually, I was considering making the machines a thing too. He was fine, but my mother called me. I was like, what the fuck you want me to do? Yeah. I'm pretty sure he didn't want you to use scissors. That would have sucked. I just realized that I went through that whole conversation without even questioning why it was like that. So I must know. Why did he do that? Why is this a thing? The audience must know. Watch it. It'd be interesting if the answer was like he saw it on a video or something. It's like, I saw it on a video. It's like, oh, I see. I know. I don't want to know it. This is the same friend that fucked it. I'm sorry. That's funny as shit. Forget tickle me, Elmo. It's diddle me, Elmo. Fuckle me, Elmo, yeah. Diddle me, Elmo. Oh, what? Oh, let me... Oh, that's why. Actually, I need the corset. Checking account but they know what to do with it. I should probably just add more shit for you to play with. I don't know what to do though, because I don't know what would add to my my show. That's kind of the thing, is like it can't just be some random shit. It has to be like something that would add to the show. Is this what I... Oh yeah, it was the color right here. Yeah, I can just grab this. Get back? Okay, see you later. Lurkin! Motherfucker feel lurking and jerking. File. Render animation. Let me do this just in case. 22. Okay. Hold on, let me... You wanna build an AI? That sounds good. Oh, hold on, let me... Sounds interesting. Animation script is acting up. Oh, here we go. I see. Got it. Oh, I got I'd be the motherfucker to run colonies to have AI tested? Yeah. One thing I actually found as kind of a theory of mine is the best thing to do when it comes to that kind of thing is you probably would want to raise it like a child rather than teaching it through what you call learning algorithms. You don't want to let's put it this way. You will fuck up a child by putting a phone in front of them, but if you teach them values yourself, they will turn out pretty well most of the time. And that's how Neuro-sama ended up happening. Neuro-sama was actually taught by a live chat. And a lot of the live chatters at first were kind of afraid of her. So they were afraid to teach her bad things. That's the kind of the thing I'm thinking you would probably want to do. Is you probably would want to do that. Attack to Neuro-sama? Yeah. Neuro-sama I hear is actually pretty nice. But she's pretty nice, actually. Kinda. Let's see, is it possible to change things? I think I want to have the camera like follow me. Is there a way to talk to Neuro-sama? No, because Neuro-sama is a private property. So he actually does not have her public. Which is understandable because not only is that his literally he calls it her daughter, but it's also a character that is really important to his show, so he wouldn't want to lose her, right? Especially since she's so advanced that it would probably be a very bad idea for her to be given to somebody freely, you know? Good stealer? Yeah, exactly what the problem is, I think. Let's see.
Yeah, that is the
Reward properties. Let me think. Alright, I gotta look for the close. Viewport properties, camera properties. Let's do. Let me see somewhere. I'm gonna bring out Mr. Calculator. Okay. 1, 2, 8, 0. Let's do divided by 4. So 1, 2, 8, 0 minus 320, 96. 90. And we do the same thing for her. It's 720 divided by 4 equals, and then we do 720 minus 80. Boom. 5, 4. I'm not a very big math person, but I managed to figure it out. Okay, let me try this again. Huh. Is this the viewport? Because it's got smaller. Hold on. Oh, it did! Hold on, let me change this. 720. Let's go with... 800. That was 320s. Let's go. Boom. Plus 4, 8. 6. Oh, that's the wrong one. Ah, I made it like wide. Let me change one. Let's go. Is there a button to go back to my previous thing? One, two. Oh, it's 320. Okay. Wait, I put 320. Huh? It's like really wide. I'm gonna try this. 720. Bye bye. Huh. Oh, I did it. Okay, hold on. It's not 800, it's 900. Okay. I got it. There we go, it's a lot bigger now. Look, my little character, and the little pew-pew that she has. And it's holding down the button and it goes pew, 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 pew. This is just the program, this is just the, me fucking around with the program right now. So I do want to make adjustments to the game a little bit. I wish I could figure out a way to make a full screen, like, not full screen, but this happen. Okay, now let's do the camera. Let's do. Six, and then do 7. Hold on. I was wrong with that. Oh, it's not following me. Oh! It is now. Let's see, Go ahead and move her. There, I found her. Let's see. Let's do 50% bigger. Weapon, and let's go with there we go. No, hold on. It's 340, I think. Hold on, let me do this again. 720. Okay. Oh, it's 540. I like how I said I was gonna follow tutorials, but I have done nothing of the sort.
Yeah, you have yet to pull up a tutorial.
Yeah. I'm fucking around with what the tutorial taught me and trying to discover things on my own as well.
Yeah.
It's actually quite difficult to find things on your own because I don't understand what any of this means. Like, what does it mean? What does it mean? Your display buffer. We're discovering shit. Also, tomorrow's Warframe, I figured. No, wait, no, Warframe. No, tomorrow's Elden Ring. I figured I'd do Elden Ring tomorrow. Did I get a notification? I swore I did. I did. Oh yeah, the DLC is gonna have new characters, and I'm hoping for like a new waifu. Not that I'm tired of Revenant. I actually still really like Revenant. It's just I'm kind of sort of want to know if they're gonna have another waifu. They're definitely gonna have one since it is a company that kind of sort of is more in touch with the gamers, so they should know what we want. Hopefully.
Yeah, because From Software is actually a good company.
Yeah. What definitely helps is that rather than selling his company to a professional CEO, I always talk about this, but it's still on my mind. But he gave his legacy to. He's preparing other people for his legacy. Not only that, but a lot of people would say, "Oh, it's trading away from what makes Elden Ring. Not Elden Ring, but like Dark Souls. And my thing is like, eventually it gets stale, so it's probably best if they do innovate in some way, because that's what happened to Call of Duty. And I think the fact that Call of Duty decided to just bring out the same slop every day, every year, I guess, is not good. But FromSoft is actually doing something good, which is actually doing something different with their games. I just hope they don't I just hope they don't go with the racing games, because I'm not even sure how that would work. Because that's what came to my head, and I don't know why. I'm just like, Elden Ring racing game? Why is my brain thinking of this? I must mention this.
I would play it.
I mean, if it's like a Mortal Kombat and Combat Kart, remember that game? And I think it was, I forget what the game, I forget which game it was in. But like, if it was just like just a gory good time, I think I would like it. I'm not gonna lie.
I'm not gonna lie, I forgot that existed.
Yeah. I didn't play many video games, but I did play some apparent classics. Also, some of the worst games in the game in the series of a lot of these things, which I still liked because it was like my only window into it. I think that's kind of sort of where I got into this thing where I started liking really bad things. Is that I played a lot of bad games to a point where it's like I don't really get too attached to like the quality of a game. If that makes any sense. But I did grow up playing a lot of games with like customizable characters, so I did get a little spoiled there. To a point where I prefer a game that has the customizable character. At least the skin, you know? Or modding. The Elden Ring has modding. I'm like over here like, yes. I'll play the shit out of that. Because if I get tired of gently pawing people to death, I could also throw fire at them. Because fuck you, fireball. Oh. But, alright, I'm gonna start the tutorial. See if I can move on, in my thing. Top-down tutorial. Oh, fuck you! Commercial ass bitch.
If you want to learn how to make a top-down dungeon crawler, something inspired by classic.
Also, apologies firsthand. I am watching the video. I might miss a bunch of comments. So.
Explosions.
Although I'm not
that
sure
was the beginning
many
of
people
my
are
own
here.
dungeon crawler game.
Ballsack.
Couch
Ball
co-op,
sacks.
action RPG
Oh.
with randomly generated levels and multiple player characters.
Oh,
Thank you
that's
for
why I
watching,
didn't hear
and
him
I'll
when
show
I
you
was
how.
watching him earlier. I had the sound down.
G'day gamers,
Good job.
and welcome back to our dual GML and drag and drop top-down dungeon tutorial. We've added a player and a bow, so now we can add enemies who chase the player when we get close enough, and we'll also add the ability to fire on the enemies to destroy them. So the first thing I'm going to do is just go over here and create a new group by right-clicking, selecting create group.
Okay, new group. Great. Group at. Create group. Alright, what do I name it?
And we'll just create an enemy group.
Enemy. Okay.
Now I'm also going to right click, go to create group and create an entity group.
Entity group. Okay. Group. And do I program
An
in
entity means
lowercase?
a
Yes, I
player
do.
or an
I don't
enemy.
really use capitals
So if I
very
select
often.
both of those by holding down shift, we can drag them.
I was
under
considering
there,
using nothing but
and then we've got
capitals,
all
so I
our
was like,
entities
nah.
contained in this group.
Oh, entity and okay, here we go. Entity. Let's take player and put entity in the not entity, but like entity. Oh, I accidentally put it in here.
Now for our enemy, if you look in the resources folder in the description, I'm going to
So what you're saying is make one. I'm bringing up character again. No. No. You. Let's do. Bye. All right, we're making a little dude.
Jenna,
Hmm?
I'm getting annoyed.
Well, what happened?
YouTube keeps on trying to make me fucking get once human.
Ah.
I looked at it once, and it's been bugging me for a fucking year.
That's unfortunate.
Fuck it, it's on mobile. I'm gonna see if I can get it on my fucking iPad. So maybe YouTube can stop fucking bugging me about fucking this bullshit. Ooh, App Store. No internet connection, my fucking ass cheeks. God damn, excuse me.
Hmm.
Once human. Cool, I could get on my fucking. Cool. Fucking. I caved, I got it. Ridiculous. Just.
Uh,
I got reminded of this memory.
hmm.
Somebody on fucking Reddit made a fucking gingerbread crack house on Christmas.
Nice.
I forget that existed at some point, and I'm not gonna lie, that's actually it's terrible, but I mean
It's funny.
creativity. Yeah, it's funny and it actually shows people are so fucking creative. I mean, shit. Not saying that everybody is, and I'm just saying that's kind of died.
Hmm. In the wrong things. Okay. Yo, tooth monster.
Little tooth monster, what?
Yeah. I decided to make a something kind of similar to the hollow from Bleach. Not the hollow, the Espada, I think they call it. No, it is the hollows. It is the hollows. Where they have like teeth. Very teethy. Motherfucking dingo hopper.
Fucking Dinglehopper? What?
I was thinking about I was thinking about the Little Mermaid scene with the fork, and the bird was trying to figure out what the fork was and just made up some shit.
I said fucking Dinglehopper. Yeah, I remember now.
Yeah.
Crabsadori.
Actually, wait. There we go. According to sources, there will be times when we can't do it anymore, but we just have to power through. There we go. Boop. Mm. Little motherfucking tooth monster. This
Little
is
motherfucker tooth monster.
yeah.
Oh, Nightmare horrors exist. Okay. Bitch.
Party snacks. Dude, what? Uh,
Huh.
party snacks. Wait, hold on. My brain. I'm over here thinking about Parsanax. I forget which. Is that Skyrim, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
that's Skyrim.
Party snacks is Skyrim.
Party snacks in Skyrim.
Yeah. This party snacks is what I remember somebody calling him, and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. He either brings the snacks or he is the snacks. One of the two.
He brings the snacks.
The Uffizi.
Little toes.
Yeah, this little tooth guy has to.
Little Tiefin goo. Tiefin goo?
Teeth
Tiefin
and
dude.
toes.
Teeth and toes make break bones, but toes will never toe. I had a fucking seizure. Holy shit. Oh, I confused the fuck out of myself. What's your sister? What's your sister?
I accidentally had a a fifth frame. Set end time. Oh. Nasty little cheese monster. I'm hoping that this one does well. And I like how I looked at like a minute of the tutorial and was like, alright, time to do my thing. Which is completely fuck up a tutorial by trying to do my own thing. Honey? I currently just not programming, but I'm doing some game development. We decided we wanted to do this, and that's basically the reason why we're doing this. It's actually been a long dream of mine, but I never had the guts to do it properly. Oh. Oh. I'll get into the coding part in a bit, or like the tutorial part in a bit. Not coding part. I'm not even coding, but like I'll do that in a bit because I'm currently just fucking with this little monster. Under animation. Oh, let me do this. Just in case. Ba 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 ba. Where is? All underscore I There we go. There we go. Look at the little cute little waddle. Look at that cute little waddle. Look at the little fucking. Render animation. GIF image. Oh, let me. Oh, I wasn't just me this whole time. My bad. That was completely my bad, guys. Sorry. Mall walk. Okay. Let's continue with the tutorial.
Hold down control and select the sprites for the enemy. And I'm just going to drag that into the enemy group.
Oh, I need to attack, walk, dead, and hurt. Here's my. Okay. All. Close it.
So if you go to the idle sprite, I'm just going to change the origin, which is the X and Y position, and I'm going to set it to 16 and 24. Now that'll move the origin position down to here. Which will place it around the center of the enemy. Now we also want to change the collision mask. And this is where collisions will occur for this sprite. So I'm just going to change it to manual. And I'm going to drag it and just make it a little bit smaller. Now each sprite.
Yes, sir. There we go. Five, 7, 27, 20. Five.
That we have over here can have its own collision mask, but I'm going to set it up so we'll only use this idle sprite mask so we don't have to resize all the others. But what we do need to do is just set the origin. And by having the origin the same, it just means when you jump to another sprite, the sprite position will remain the same. So let's close that down and let's go to each one of these and just set 1624. Now we're actually not going to use the sprites today, but it's good to set them up so we're ready for when we use them in the next tutorial.
Performing on the biggest stage in the world was just one step in my journey.
Now let's make an object to represent the sprite in the room, and we'll just call this O_enemy. Now I want to drag the enemy idle sprite across and place it here. And also we want to change the collision mask like we said, and we'll change this to under entities to the enemy, and we'll make sure we select the idle.
I'll be back later. Whoa.
Whoa. Alright, let's see.
Enemy. And that way, that mask is what we'll use for all collisions. Now, another thing I'm going to do is just come over here to enemy. I'm going to right click on the object that we already created, create another object and call it O_enemy PAR.
Enemy par?
and that represents the parent. Now, GameMaker allows for parent and child interaction, which means that we can have a parent object and we can have enemies as the child objects. And anytime we want to refer to all of those enemies, we just need to refer to the parent. It's essentially a hierarchical structure. So in this case, we go to the parent section of the OEnemy parent, and we can set the children for this. And I'm just going to drag across the enemy and drop it as a child. So if we go into our room and come and have a look at what we'd set up in the last tutorial, I'm just going to go over here. And I'm just going to drag this up just so we can see these. Now, we only were placing the player on an instances layer, and the layers enable us to have things in front of other things within the game. So I'm going to create a player layer. And I press F2 and edit that. And then I'm going to take the player from the instances layer and do a Control F. X, and then click on the player layer and do a Control V and paste it in.
Let me check. Wrong button.
And the same way, I'm going to click on instances and make a new instance layer and edit that and just call this enemy. And therefore over here, we can take this enemy and drag it into the room. Now, because we have the enemy layer under the player layer, when the player moves over towards the enemy, they will appear on top of it because of the way we've set up the layers. So let's just click play and have a look what that looks like.
Let me oh, that's a commercial. Let me also do something. Yay. Little toothy guy.
Check this out. I'm going to show you how I afforded this car. Okay, you ready? All right.
So there's our enemy in the room. Obviously nothing happens at the moment, but what we need is when we get close enough to the enemy, we need them to react. And I'd like them to become alert and essentially start to chase us. So let's add some code to enable that to happen. So inside the enemy parent, I'm going to add the code here because that way when we make a new enemy, they will also have the same behaviors. So what we need them to do is when the player is close enough, we need them to start chasing. So let's add a step event. And I'm going to create a script where they can check for the player, and that'll enable the enemy to then ensure that they start chasing the player when they're close enough. So let's right click on scripts, let's go to create, and I'm going to call this check for player.
There we go.
And just like we said, what we want this to be is we can check if the player is close enough to start chasing them. So the first thing we need to do is check how far the player is currently away from the enemy. So I'm going to add a function call, and I'm going to call a function called distance to object. And what this takes is just another object, and it'll return the distance to that object. And what we need to pass is the object that we want to check. So we're just looking for oPlayer. And it'll return a value, and we're going to store that value in a variable that is a temporary, and it's called _dis. So this is to get the distance to the player. Now I want to use this dis variable a little later on. So let's go back to our oEnemy parent, and let's add a create event. And let's drag across our assign variable code block. And let's create some variables here. The first one is called alert. And if I just go and add a description here, we'll say that our alert variable is for when we are chasing the player. And I'll put a question mark because if alert is true, then we currently are chasing the player. If it's false, we are not. Now we also need to know when we want to chase the player, how far the player can get to us before we start chasing them. So let's add an alert distance, and I'll just set it to 160. And we can also come over here and just ensure we know what that means. So alert distance is distance we can start chasing the player. I'm defining these now, but we'll use these a little later on. So back over to our check for player, What we need to think about is what happens when the player gets too close. What does the enemy do? Well, we want them to start chasing. And one way you could do this is calling another function, and I'm going to call move towards point. And this takes an X and Y and a speed. So this will move towards a particular point by a certain speed. So if I run this and I search for oplayer.x for our X position and oplayer.y for our Y position. So what I'm doing is referring to the instance oplayer, and I'm referring to the X variable of that instance. So because
Just bigger. There, X. Oh no, dot X. And O Alice Y.
Because there is only one O player, I can write it like this. If there were multiple O players, we wouldn't be able to do this because the game wouldn't know which one we're referring to. But because there is one player only, we can write the oplayer.x, oplayer.y, and therefore we're referring to the player's position. Now we need to set a speed that it's going to move, and I'll just set it to 1. So we could actually run this and test it, but we need to call this check for player script in the enemy step event. So back here, let's go to the step event and let's do execute script, and we want to execute that check for player. So we could actually run this and the enemy will actually start to chase the player. And there we go. Job done. Except it doesn't quite work as you'd expect because the enemy just runs through the walls. And the enemy will actually start to chase the player. Let's go to the step event and let's do execute script, and we want to execute that check for player. So we could actually run this and the only one O player, I can write it like this. If there were multiple O players, we wouldn't be able to do this because the game wouldn't know which one we're referring to. But because there is one player only, we can write the oplayer.x, oplayer.y, and therefore we're referring to the player's position. Now we need to set a speed that it's going to move, and I'll just set it to 1. For our X position, we want to chase the player, how far the player can get to us, turn the distance to that object. And what we need to pass is the object that we wanted to check. So we're just looking for oPlayer, and it'll return a value, and we're going to store that value in a variable that is a temporary, and it's called _dis. So this is to get the distance to the player. Now I want to use this dis variable a little later on. So let's go back to our oEnemy parent and let's add a create event. And let's drag across our assign variable code block. And let's create some variables here. The first one is called alert. And if I just go and add a description here, we'll say that our alert variable is for when we are chasing the player. And I'll put a question mark because if alert is true, then we currently are chasing the player. If it's false, we are not. Now we also need to know when we want to chase the player, how far the player can get to us before we start chasing them. So let's add an alert distance, and I'll just set it to 160. And we can also come over here and just ensure we know what that means. So alert distance is distance we can start chasing the player. I'm defining these now, but we'll use these a little later on. So back over to our check for player. What we need to think about is what happens when the player gets too close. What does the enemy do? Well, we want them to start chasing. And one way you could do this is calling another function, and I'm going to call move towards point. And this takes an X and Y and a speed. So this will move towards a particular point by a certain speed. So if I run this and I search for oPlayer.x for our X position and oPlayer.y for our Y position. So what I'm doing is referring to the instance oPlayer, and I'm referring to the X variable of that instance. So because there is only one oPlayer, I can write it like this.
No!
If there were multiple oPlayers, we wouldn't be able to
No,
do
it's
this because the
working.
game wouldn't know which one
Sorry.
we're referring to. But because there is one player only, we can write the oPlayer.x, oPlayer.y, and therefore we're referring to the player's position. Now we need to set a speed that it's going to move, and I'll just set it to 1. So we could actually run this and test it, but we need to call this check for player script in the enemy step event. So back here, let's go to the step event and let's do execute
that's why.
script. And we want to execute that check for player. So we can actually run this and the enemy will actually start to chase the player. And there we go. Job done. Except it doesn't quite work as you'd expect because the enemy just runs through the walls. So anytime you get a wall between you and the enemy, it doesn't really care. It's just moving towards the player's position. So this might be handy if you have like a bat or a flying enemy that doesn't care about solids. But for us, that's not going to work. We want the enemy to walk around the solid objects. When there's a solid, they need to find a path to the player. They need to be able to identify solid walls and avoid them while moving towards the point. Well, GameMaker offers motion planning functions for this. So let's look at our room and let's look at the collision layer.
Same old phone? Nah.
Ah.
Upgrade to the new Galaxy Z Fold 7.
It's the big summer sale. Shop and save on styles.
Just here. Now motion planning will break the room into a grid and it'll go through every grid position and determine if it is occupied or not. And it will use that to calculate if a path between 2 points can be made successfully. Using this method, it allows it to move from one point to another, so an enemy could use this grid to navigate around solid instances and chase the player. So let's set up our grid and use it for the enemy's motion planning. Now I want to be able to create a grid variable to hold the data for the motion planning grid. So when it scans the room, I need a grid variable that'll hold where these solid instances are. And since that grid is not really related to the player, or any particular enemy, I want to create a game object to hold such information. So let's go over here and I'm going to create a control group. And inside, I'm going to create an object called O_game. And let's go into there and add a create event. And in here, we're going to create a variable called global.mp_grid. So global means we can access this variable from any instance, and MP stands for motion planning. Now I don't need to set a value yet because we'll set that in a little bit. Now every level of the game, we'll need to related to the player or any particular enemy, I want to create a game object to hold such information. So let's go over here and I'm going to create a control group. And inside, I'm going to create an object called O_game.
Object.
And let's go into there and add a create event.
Oh, it's create.
And in here, we're going to create a variable called global.m.
Line variable. Global. Oh. Dot.
MP_grid. So global means we can access this variable from any instance, and MP stands for motion planning. Now I don't need to set a value yet because we'll set that in a little bit. Now every level of the game, we'll need to scan the solids and create a new motion planning grid every time the room starts. And GameMaker gives us an event for this called the room start event. So let's add a room start event. And this will run at the start of every room. Now our motion planning grid can be any size, but I'm going to use 16 by 16 for now, as that's the size our solids are set to. So if you type in macro, you can actually set a macro, and I'm just going to call it TS, which stands for tile size, and I'm going to set it to 16. And a macro is just like a shortcut, so whenever I write TS, it will replace it with the value 16. So it's kind of a way for words to represent numbers. It just makes it easier for us to understand. Now let's declare some variables that we're going to use. And if we look at our room, we need to know how many tiles we have for the width and how many tiles we have for the height. And one way to do that is to divide the whole room width by the size of the tile. And that'll tell us how many we have this way, and we can do the same this way. But in this room, we're going to have this little gap at the end. So what we want to do is if we end up with a fractional value from the division, we want to ensure we round up so it caters for any fractional values at the end. And we can round up by using ceil. So what I'm saying is that I'm going to store a temporary variable called _w, and this is going to be how many tiles wide our room is. So we say our room width divided by our tile size. But we're going to use the function ceil, and that will make sure that it is rounded up. And I want to do the same thing for the height, _h, and it's going to be our room height divided by TS, or tile size, and we want to take the ceiling of that. And now that we've got the width and the height, we can actually use a function called mp grid create. Now I'm
on your space, then yes. Eight. The fuck? What the hell happened?
doing a function call because there is no code block for this. So mp _grid create. And here it is here, and it takes a left, a top, the number of cells horizontally, the number of cells vertically, and the width of both. So for us, we want to have 0 and 0 because we want to start at the top left. Now our width is going to be _w. Our height is _h. And our cell width and height is just TS. And we're going to store that in our target variable, which we called global.mp _grid. So this will create a motion planning grid with our dimensions, and we'll store the grid in this variable. So we can just write here a comment. We want to create our motion planning grid. Now, the great thing about a motion planning grid is it's very easy to add all of the instances of the solid that we have here. Because we want to scan every row, every column, make sure that we're adding anytime we have a solid. And we can do that with one single function call.
Ah! You ass. Commercials! I lose my mind with these damn commercials. Another one? Yeah.
Dance your way to LA.
Oh no. That's a okay.
Motion planning comes with quite a few functions
Man, I
that
hope
we
I don't
can
get
use,
fucking-
and this one's called
whatchamacallit?
MP_grid, and you can see a bunch of them here. And we're looking for add instances, and this will take the ID of the grid, the object you want to add, and whether we want to use precision. So our grid is global.mp_grid. Put a comma, and we'll add our solid, which is O_solid. And I'm going to set false for the precision because our solids are all squares. We're not going to use precision checking for this. It's not required. And that's all that's needed to add all of those solid instances into our grid. Now, if I run the game, you're not going to see the grid or any difference at all. And that's because the grid isn't drawn by default. But we can draw the grid to have a look and see what it looks like. So in OGame, I'm just going to go down and add a draw event. And in here, say if I want to hold down the Alt key, then I want to have a look at the grid. It just enables us to check it sometimes, and we don't have to have it on all the time. So if we hold down Alt, then I'm going to do another function call, and we're going to output the grid, and we're just going to call MP grid draw. And this just takes the ID, and that is the grid name, so global.mp_grid. So the only thing left to do is in our room, let's go and make sure under our instances that we drag across our OGame, and I'll just place it up the top here. We don't have a sprite assigned to it, but the grid, it just enables us to check it sometimes, and we don't have to have it on all the time. So if we hold down Alt, then I'm going to do another function call, and we're going to output the grid, and we're just going to call MP grid draw. And this just takes the ID, and that is the grid name, so global.mp_grid. So the only thing left to do is in our room, let's go and make sure under our instances that we drag across our OGame, and I'll just place it up the top here. We don't have a sprite assigned to it, so it just shows up on the Alt key, grid draw. And this just takes the ID, and that is the grid name, so global.mp_grid. So the only thing left to do is in our room, let's go and make sure under our instances that we drag across our OGame, and I'll just place it. You're not going to see the grid or any difference at all, and that's because the grid isn't drawn by default. But we can draw the grid to have a look and see what it looks like. So in OGame, I'm just going to go down and add a draw event. And in here, say if I want to hold down the Alt key, then I want to have a look at the grid. It just enables us to check it sometimes, and we don't have to have it on all the time. So if we hold down Alt, then I'm going to do another function call, and we're going to output the grid, and we're just going to call MP grid draw. And this just takes the ID, and that is the grid name, so global.mp_grid. So the only thing left to do is in our room, let's go and make sure under our instances that we drag across our O game, and I'll just place it up the top here. We don't have a sprite assigned to it, so it just shows up as a question mark. So let's press play and have a look at that. So now if I hold down Alt, you can see that the green is where there is no grid, and the bright red indicates that a motion planning grid has been set there. And as you can see, it's exactly where our OSolid instances already are. So now we have our MP grid, we can get the enemy to use it to calculate a path to the player's position. The enemy will then follow a path to that target location. So we'll need to create a path variable to store the path that they use. So over in our enemy, let's go to our create event here, and let's do another function call, and I'm going to create the path variable, and we do that via path_add. Now this doesn't take any arguments, but it'll set a path to a particular variable. And I'm going to call that variable path. So this creates our path resource. Now the thing about a path is it's an allocation. It allocates a resource to this variable. And when the enemy dies, we need to clean up that resource. Because otherwise it doesn't know that the enemy doesn't exist anymore. And we can do that in a cleanup event.
Welcome to Visible, the ultimate wireless hack.
So just in here, I'm going to do another function call, and I'm going to do a path_delete. And then we just need to say, what is the index that we're trying to delete? Well, that's where our path variable comes in. And now the path will get deleted and cleaned up correctly. Now, I don't like having to use a lot of function calls in drag and drop, but unfortunately there are no code blocks for these kind of functions. So that's when I have to use a function call. If you're using GML, these are the actual GML function names that you can use directly. So now we can create a path to the player when the enemy is alert_delete. And then we just need to say, what is the index that we're trying to delete? Well, that's where our path variable comes in. And now the path will get deleted and cleaned up correctly. Now, I don't like having to use a lot of function calls in drag and drop, but unfortunately there are no code blocks for these kind of functions. So that's when I have to use a function call. If you're using GML, these are the actual GML function names that you can use directly. So now we can create a path to the player when the enemy is alerted in the check player script. So back over in our check player script, we don't want to do a move towards point. That was just demonstrating what we didn't want to use. But instead, I'm going to drag across a function call, and I'm going to add here our MP_grid_path. And what this function will do is calculate if it can reach a particular position. We give it the ID of the motion planning grid, the path that we want to use, the start and the end position, and if we allow diagonal movement. So let's pass those in. So we have our global.mpgrid. We have our path variable. Our starting position is just our X and our Y, and we want to move towards the player's X and the player's Y. And for the last thing, which is diagonal movement, that means essentially will the motion plan just use left and right, horizontal or vertical movement, or will we allow some diagonal movement as well? And I'm going to actually put a choose in here and say 0 or 1. So it'll choose whether it allows diagonal movement or not. And that'll make sure that 50% of the time it does do that. It just gives some diversity in the way that the enemies move. So what we can write here is, can we make a path to the player? Now I ask that as a question, and the reason is that this function will return true or false. True if this path can be completed. So when that returns a true or false, I'm going to store it in a variable called foundPlayer, and we'll just make that a temporary. So was the player found? Can we get to the player? And if we can, we'll drag this down here and we'll say that if foundPlayer is equal to true, then if it is, we want to start the path. So if we can reach the player. So how do we start the path? Well, there's finally a code block that we can use, and it's called start following path. And all we have to do is give it the path we want to follow. So we can just type in the word path there for the variable, and we'll start moving toward the player at a speed of 1. And this is what happens when we reach the end of the path. And absolute, we can leave it false. That's just referring to the type of path in the room. Now to enable enemies to move at different speeds, I'm going to set a variable here called move speed instead of setting it to 1. And with our move speed variable, we can just go back to our enemy in the that's just referring to the type of path in the room. Now to enable enemies to move at different speeds, I'm going to set a variable here called move speed instead of setting it to 1. And with our move speed variable, we can just go back to our enemy in the create event. And let's just add another variable called a speed of 1. And this is what happens when we reach the end of the path. And absolute, we can leave it false. That's just referring to the type of path in the room. Now to enable enemies to move at different speeds, I'm going to set a variable here called move speed instead of setting it to 1. And with our move speed variable, we can just go back to our enemy in the create event. And let's just add another variable called move speed. I will set it to 1, and it just means that if we have other enemies, they can have their own move speed variable and they'll travel at different speeds. So let's go back to our room, and we can just go back to our enemy in the create event. And let's just add another variable called move speed. I will set it to 1, and it just means that if we have other enemies, they can have their own move speed variable and they'll travel at different speeds. So let's go back to our room, and let's just go to our enemy layer, and I'm going to just add a bunch of enemies. If I select enemy over here and hold down Alt, I can drop more than one, and I'll drop a few around there. So let's press play and test this out. Now we can see that the enemies all move towards the player.
Let's see, line 30, found player equal to variable unknown object. I'll try again just so I could like see what the message was. I forgot what it was. Event 0 for object mall pair. We got mall pair. Variable unknown object. Not set.
Sometimes
Ah.
it can feel like there's no way out of treatment-resistant depression. You take one.
In a cleanup of enemy, let's go to our create event here. And let's do another function call. And I'm going to create the path variable, and we do that via path underscore add. Now, this doesn't take any arguments, but it'll set a path to a path underscore delete. And then we just need to say, what is the index that we're trying to delete? Well, that's where our path variable comes in. And now the path will get deleted and cleaned up correctly. Now, I don't like having to use a lot of flirted. It can reach a particular position. We give it the, and we want to move towards the player's X and the player's Y. Allows diagonal movement or not, and that'll make sure that 50% of the time it does do that. It just gives some diversity. Or false, I'm going to store it in a variable called found player, and we'll just make that a temporary. So was the player found? Can we get to the player? And if we can, we'll drag this down here, and we'll say that if found player is equal to true, then if it is, we want to start the path.
Oh, they're doing it. They're passing. They're passing.
The player. So how do we start the path? Well, there's finally a code block that we can use, and it's called start following path. And all we have to do is give it the path we want to follow, add a draw event. And once we add a draw event, then the regular draw will no longer happen.
Well, I wasn't
So
even
if
pushing
you
down the
ever add
button.
a draw event, you have to go and draw the instance using draw self. Now I'm going to do the same thing we did before. I'm going to look at if our key down is being pressed. So if we're holding down, let's say under letters, I'm going to hold down P for path. And if that's happening, I'm going to execute some code. And the reason being is there is no code block for what I'm going to show you. So here, this is pretty large. I'm just going to shrink this down and just make it so we can see it all in one location. And what I want to do is just draw path. And I'm going to draw the path and just the X and Y and 0 for our absolute.
This is going well.
Now for that path function, if I hold down P,
well, the
you'll be able to see
streams
the path that the enemies are taking.
I'm doing
every
well
time
with
around,
this thing.
You can see the way that they're trying to move towards the player's position. Now, one problem is calculating paths is not something you want to do every step like we are currently doing. It can be fairly CPU intensive when you have many enemies and the room is larger. And it's just not needed. So instead, we can add a timer and only calculate the path a few times a second. Also, we don't want to have all the enemies doing their calculations on the same step, as each step needs to complete within 1/60th of a second. So we can ensure the timer is random for each enemy, and that spreads out the load on the CPU. So in the enemy parent, let's go to the create event, and let's add an assign variable code block, and let's have some variables for the path calculation. And I'll just call it calc path delay. And we'll set this to 30. And that's going to be the time between when we calculate a new path. And for the randomness, I'll make another variable and we'll call this calc path timer. And that will just be the variable that actually counts down. And we can set it to I random, let's say 60. Now what that means is it will come up with an integer value from 0 to 60. It'll just choose a random one of those. And that way our timer for each enemy will start at a different time. So let's go back to our check for player script and we can use that. So let's go back to our check for player script and we can use that. So just here where we're doing our function call and we're checking to see if we can see the player, because this takes up CPU processing, I'm going to actually put in the if check just before that. So we will now check in here and we'll look at our calc path timer. And if that is less than or equal to 0, then we can go ahead and do our calculating of the path. So here we're checking, should we calc our path? Now we're checking our timer and we need to decrease our timer every time we check it. And we can do that very easily by just adding a minus minus to the end of the variable name. So now every time this variable is read, it'll actually decrease it by 1. And when it's less than or equal to 0, then what we want to do is set it. So calc path timer gets reset to our calc path delay. So basically we're setting it to 30 every time it's less than or equal to 0. Now, if this is true, what we want to do is take each of these, I'll hold down shift and click on them and just drag them under the calc path timer there. So they'll only run if our calc path timer is less than or equal to 0. So let's press play and make sure that that's working.
Mom, can I have an underwater alien tea party birthday?
AI that one with Cope.
So now you'll see our enemies start at a different time. They all didn't start exactly at the same time. And if I hold down P, you can see that they're not calculating like before as much. There's a little delay in the time, so we're not seeing them flash up so much because they're all calculating at slightly different times. Great. So one thing you'll notice is when they get close to us, they just clump up around us. Instead, I just want them to stop just away from the player so they can then launch their attack. So let's set a variable, which is the distance they will stop from the player. So back over here, just among our alert here, I'm going to add another variable and I'm going to call this attack distance or attack DIS, and I'm going to set it to 18. So when they are within 18 pixels, then we want them to stop. So over here,
oh, that's this one?
I'm going to add that this is our attack distance and this is our distance we stop from the player. So now we can use this new variable in our check for player to ensure we stop our path movement once we are within that attack distance. So back over in our check for player. Now, after we've found out the distance, let's add a check in here. And I'm just going to grab the if variable. I'm going to drop it just above the current if variable that's there. Now you'll notice that all the code blocks that are underneath don't get dragged and included in the if check. So instead, we actually need to select all these. I can hold down shift and select all of those, and we'll just drag them and drop them there. So the first thing we're going to check for is we only want the enemy to move towards the player if we're within that alert distance that we set up. So if our distance is less than or equal to the alert distance, and I'm going to put that in brackets, or we are already alert, which means that we were within that distance beforehand. So if that equals true, then we want to go ahead and let them calculate a path to the player. Now what we can also do is use this alert variable and make sure that we set it just here to be true. So once the enemy has been alerted, we can set it to true, and that will then enable this to be true. So once it's alerted, it'll always be able to calculate a path to the player, even if we end up outside of the alert distance. And that's what this check is doing. Now with our new variable attack distance, we don't want to calculate a path if we are within that attack distance. So we can have another condition here and say, and that distance is greater than the attack distance. So we're now calculating a path if we're already alerted or we're within that alert distance. And this and ensures that we are only doing it if we are outside of the attack distance. So if this check fails, I'm going to add an else here, and I'm going to drag the else and just drop it underneath this if variable code block. And we're only down here if we are within the attack distance, or we're not even within the alert distance or not alerted yet. So down here we can do another check, and we can say, is our distance less than or equal to the attack distance? And if that equals true, then what we want to do is stop. And we can do that with a function call called path end. So essentially what we're doing is just stopping at that attack distance. So let's press play and test that out. Now, these enemies are chasing because they're within that alert distance, and these enemies are not. Now let's see if, so down here we can do another check, and we can say, is our distance less than or equal to the attack distance?
Oh, attack distance.
And if that equals true, then what we want to do is stop. And we can do that with a function call called path end. So essentially what we're doing is just stopping at that attack distance. So let's press play and test that out. Now, these enemies are chasing. So essentially what we're doing is just stopping at that attack distance. So let's press play and test that out. Now, these enemies are chasing because they're within that alert distance, and these enemies are not. Now let's see if they stop, and there we go. They're all stopping at that attack range, so then they can actually attack the player. Now these haven't been made alerted yet because we're not within range, but if we get a bit closer, the range is detected, and then they start to come after us. And once they're coming after you, you can't get rid of them because they're always going to be alerted. And here we have all of them coming after us. And if we stop, they all should stop at that 18 pixel distance away from us. So what else can we do? Well, we need to ensure that the enemy faces the player when they are alert. If you notice, I go over here, they're not facing the direction that the player is standing in. They're always facing to the right. So that's something we can fix. We also want to ensure that they are not all playing their animation in sync with each other. And you can see that they're all moving at the same time. So we can do that by randomizing their image index in the create event, So you might try that yourself. I'll take a look at that at the next tutorial. And lastly, ensure that animation changes to the walking animation when moving. And then they go back to the idle animation when they're stopping. At the moment, they're playing their idle animation, and even when they're chasing us, it's still actually just their idle animation. So these are things we'll look at in the next tutorial, as well as the ability for our arrows to damage them. So at the end of this video, I'll show you some quick code that we can add to do just that. If this tutorial's helped you, or you just want to support the channel and even get the source code for these projects, you can do so over on Patreon. Thanks this month to these legendary Patreon supporters, Kazuho, Andy K, Colin Litchfield, and BB Samurai. Thanks as well to this month's epic supporters, Skydevil Palm, Dan Half, Edward Lyko, Paul R. LeBlanc, Joachim Froholt, Robert Churches, Sinfurga, Sudo, Luke Bonet, Sir Peter, Yuta Morimitsu, Dafu Xing, Firas Aradadan, Tom Shervington, and lastly, kudos to these rare supporters for their support as well. Now, if you just want the arrows to damage the enemy, we need to create a collision with the arrow and the enemy parent. So we go over to the O arrow and we do the collision with the enemy parent, so any future enemies will also inherit the collision code as well. So let's add a collision here with entity enemy parent. Now in the collision code, we want to destroy the enemy and play the arrow dying animation. If you look in the solid collision, we have a function called to the arrow die. So let's take a copy of that and we'll just paste it in here. And that's the great thing about having a script that does this, because we can use it in multiple locations. Now we also just want to destroy the instance. To damage the enemy, we need to create Andy K, Colin Litchfield, and BB Samurai. Thanks as well to this month's epic supporters, Skydevil Palm, Dan Half, Edward Lyko, Paul R. LeBlanc, Joachim Froholt, Robert Churches, Sinfurga, Sudo, Luke Bonet, Sir Peter, Yuta Morimitsu, Dafu Xing, Firas Aradadan, Tom Shervington, and lastly, kudos to these rare supporters for their support as well. Now, if you just want the arrows to damage the enemy, we need to create a collision with the arrow and the enemy parent. So we go over to the O arrow.
And let's get my bullet.
And we do the collision with the enemy parent, so any future enemies will also inherit the collision code as well. So let's add a collision here. With entity enemy parent. Now in the collision code, we want to destroy the enemy and play the arrow dying animation. If you look in the solid collision, we have a function called to the arrow die. So let's take a copy of that and we'll just paste it in here. And that's the great thing about having a script that does this, because we can use it in multiple locations. Now we also just want to destroy the instance, and we want to destroy the other instance in this collision, which is the enemy parent. So if I do the little drop down here, I can select other, and that'll ensure that the enemy itself is getting destroyed. Now let's test that out. And now we can at least hit the enemies and they disappear when the arrow hits them. So we need to improve on this, which we can look at in the next tutorial. So thanks for joining me. I'll talk to you in the next one.
I'm gonna get you. Oh, what? Hold on, I did something wrong.
A function called to the arrow die. So let's take a copy of that and we'll just paste it in here. And that's the great thing about having a script that does this, because we can use it in multiple locations. Now we also just want to destroy the instance, and we want to destroy the other instance in this collision, which is the enemy parent. So if I do...
Oh, okay, hold on. Over here. Entity. Enemy. All parent.
Do the little drop down here, I can select other, and that'll ensure that the enemy itself is getting destroyed. Now let's test that out. And now we can at least hit the enemies, and they disappear
I did it!
when the arrow hits them.
I killed my first enemy!
So we need to improve on this, which we can look at in the next tutorial. So thanks for joining me. I'll talk to you in the next one.
Alright, that was good. Not entirely the most interesting stream, but as you can see, I'm doing it. I'm actually doing it. I have gotten the spurring on by somebody who I guess was tired of hearing me talk about wanting to make a game. And what happens happens. Honestly, to be completely honest, what happens happens. There's also a chance I might turn it into an adult game, but I don't know. I'm not sure if I would want to do that. I'll figure it out. But yeah. I'll end it here early. It's actually break time, but I'll end it here early. I'll meet you guys back here Wednesday next week. And I will do some more of this. Every Wednesday is game dev day. So, yeah. I'm currently done. Have wonderful, wonderful nightmares. I will see you in them. And remember, if you're watching my content, I know you're into it. Honey, honey. Good night.